Welcome to this week's video, guys. Today we're going to finish up in the boatyard, and please make sure and stay tuned to the end. We're going to go through and have a discussion about what it actually costs to be in the boatyard. Enjoy the video, guys.
Last week we got to explore fun places in Key West. This week we finish the boat repairs and get back in the water.
Alright, it's day 12 and Chris has me up in the engine room. We had to move some through holes because they were below the water line and they shouldn't be. So we're moving them up today, and then in between all these other little projects he continues to fiberglass the keel. So that's going good. Hopefully another few days. Oh, here he comes. He needs me to tighten the nuts. So here's the story of the Wandering Naps. We're a family of 5 from Texas. Chris and Jolene met in 2nd grade and started dating our freshman year of high school. We got married and moved to Texas. We had 3 boys, Carter, Chase, and Caleb. We loved to travel and fell in love with the water. We decided to sell everything and buy a boat and travel the Caribbean. After selling everything, we traveled coast to coast boat shopping. We finally found our new home in the Florida Keys. We spent 6 weeks in a boatyard, moved aboard, spent another 8 months in a marina, and finally moved off-grid and on anchor. Join us on our adventure.
So he ripped off the fiberglass. He took out all the stuffing inside of there. And then he refilled it with a different foam.
After I dried it out.
Foam, and then he did this.
Go ahead, Caleb.
And then he's putting the fiberglass back on, and then after this he's going to paint it.
Today is day 14 in the boatyard. We got one more session of fiberglass to go down in here, and then hopefully this afternoon I'll put primer on this bad boy. Homeschooling our boat takes many different forms. We use curriculum, but we also use real life experience. We figure if we can teach the kids something in real life and how chemistry really applies, they might enjoy it a little more. Also, we figure if we can teach them to love boating, they'll never have money for drugs. So we're wetting this piece out. I'm getting all the epoxy and resin soaked into the glass, and then we'll pick it up and I'll lay it on here, and it should stick, and then leave me enough to paint, so do about half of that on there. Actually no, do the whole thing and then give me another 3 pumper. Here we are, day 732 in the boatyard. Finally time to prime and paint. Let me walk you around and show you what we got done. Got our paint mix down there. That's our primer, actually. Primer is on. Time for bottom paint. I have no idea what day it is. I know it's Friday and we're putting in the water on Monday. That's what I do know. So we're up in the slings today. What that means is they pick the boat up with the travel lift. because right there, that is where the block used to sit, and so I have to fiberglass that. As you can see, I've already painted and all the other stuff, and I got another spot up there and one that I got to paint. So I just ground everything and I fiberglassed it. Tomorrow morning I'll come back and sand it, prime it, paint, and then we'll be good to go in the water on Monday. 3D Boatyard's really good. They, instead of picking me up, reblocking me, putting me down, and charging me what they call a reblock fee, they do it like this. I said, if you can go in the slip Friday, because we're closed over the weekend, pick you up, move to a couple blocks, leave you in the sling over the weekend, and then first thing Monday morning, you got to be ready to go back in the water. It's gonna get there. Now that we're done on the hard, we have to put everything back in the boat. This has been covered in tools. If you go upstairs, it's just destroyed with tools everywhere. And a couple of days from now, we're gonna go provision. And everything on a boat has to have a spot. Otherwise, you got no room.
We got splashed in the water great. Engines needed to be bled, and then they were great, but
The coolant, or the raw water, I should say.
but now our bilge pump stopped working.
Let's talk about the cost. What is the cost to pull a boat like ours out, put it on the hard, and do work? When you pull a boat like ours out, where they use what's called a travel lift to lift it out of the water, they charge per foot. So it's all based on how big your boat is. We have a 47-foot long boat. So I'm going to give you a price per foot, and then I'll give you our total, and Jolene will put those up on the screen. So depending on what kind of person you are, you can figure it out. The first fee that we have is what they call a haul, block, and land fee. So what that means is they're going to pull it out of the water, they're going to take it over, they're going to set it down, put blocks underneath it, and you're good to go. This price will also include the cost to put it back in the water when you're all done. So haul, block, and launch fees is what that's called. That's $9.25 per foot for our boat. Ended up being $434.75. That was a very good price. That's about half of what a lot of other places in the Keys charge, just so you know. Next thing is pressure wash. $4.10 a foot. End up being $192.23. They usually do that right after they pull you out of the water before they put you on the blocks. The next charge is what they call lay days. This is what does it cost to actually sit on the hard in the yard per day. And every place does this a little bit different. For this place, the first day through the 14th day was only 65 cents a foot, which is amazingly low for in the Keys. So for us, that was $30.55 per day. Once you hit day 15 up to day 60, it's $1.15 a foot, or $54.05 a day. From that point on, at 60 days plus, they charge $1.55 per foot, which is $72.85 for us per day. Even that full price, that $1.55 a foot, is very, very reasonable for the Keys. The last time we pulled out, it was $2 per foot per day. Doesn't matter, day 1, day 100, it was the same price no matter what. And that's a very common price throughout the Keys. The last fee that I'm going to talk about is what we call a reblock fee. For us, we were sitting on blocks, and we had that repair to do on the bottom, and we needed to lift the boat up, move the blocks around so I could fix the part where it was sitting, and that's called a reblock, where they lift you up, change the blocks, and set you back down. For us, that's $7.20 a foot, end up being $338.40. As I shared in the video, they did not charge me that fee because 3D Boatyard was a really, really reasonable, great yard to work with. And they said, hey, we're closed on weekends, we'll lift you up, get you ready to go back in the water on Monday. And then if you can get the work done over the weekend, it's just a launch. We're not going to charge you for a reblock. So very, very good. The other thing you need to realize about the boatyards is the paint. A lot of places and 3D was one of them. They want you to buy paint from them. The reason is that way they can continue to get their good discounts on paint. If everyone out and bought their own paint, then they don't get this big volume discount that they get. Because this paint is expensive and they can make a good margin on it. My paint cost me $300 per gallon. And that's a pretty reasonable rate actually for the paint we got. Let's see, what did it end up being exactly? Yeah, $333 for the paint. That's for a gallon, and I had to use 2 gallons. If I was going to actually paint my whole bottom, because I just spot painted, it probably would have been about 4 to 5 gallons. The gallon of primer was $126, and I got a little tiny quart, which was about the size of my coffee cup. A little quart of paint for the running gear, which is the propellers and the rudders and stuff, and that was $94.50. If you didn't buy paint from them, you could go buy it wherever you wanted, and they would put, I think, a 20 or 25% markup on it. And they tell you that in their rules. They've got a whole list of rules that they go through. They're in the Boatyard, and that's just what I liked about 3D is they were very, very upfront with everything, and they were honest. So they said, here's our rules. Please follow our rules. If you do this, everything's going to be fine. And they really were. If you were reasonable with them, they were reasonable back. They told you up front what all the charges were. When we got down to the end of it, every single thing was just like they'd quoted me. So I was very, very happy about that. The other things that you have at a Boatyard might be like rental of tools. You can rent a vacuum cleaner or a sander. So I went ahead and rented for a couple days when I was doing a lot of my major grinding. So that was $15 a day to rent a sander. I couldn't get dust masks anywhere. I couldn't find them anywhere. So luckily they had them in stock. They were charging very reasonable actually, $2 for a dust mask. So very nice. They had everything you could need there, from zincs to paint supplies, the brushes, the rollers, and all that. Again, they're going to charge you and make money on it. I am blessed. I have I get very good prices at West Marine, and so I bought most all of my stuff from there. All my epoxy for my fiberglass work. My actual glass itself, I have another place I get that from. And then I had everything from paintbrushes to zincs to hoses or belts or just different little pieces. And that was either done at West Marine or at Napa. I spent another probably $1,000 in total outside of the Boatyard, but doing the Boatyard projects and Boatyard work. So we spent 14, 15, 16, we spent 18 days on the hard and 2 days tied up to their dock. So was that 20 days? Spent 20 days in this yard for a grand total of $2,511.12. That included the haul, the pressure wash, 18 days, a couple of masks, a couple of days of rental of a sander, 2 gallons of paint, a gallon of primer. They charged me for an hour of forklift because we had something done with, we needed a forklift, and the paint for the propellers. So all in all, pretty reasonable, especially since the last time I was in a Boatyard, it was almost a $30,000 bill. So much more reasonable. And then on top of that, I got the $1,000 for West Marine and whatnot. So about $3,500. We also, while we were in the Boatyard, we filled up with fuel. That's funny. I've seen several discussions in our comment section about where the best spot to buy fuel is and how much it actually costs and all that. Well, I can give you a very good answer for this moment in time. Here we are at the end of 2020. What month is it? End of September, beginning of... Yeah, no, it's September. I don't even know. So, we put in 444 gallons of fuel, of diesel. We called around, and we ended up ordering that from a delivery service that brings a truck to the boat and fills it for us. The reason was I was able to get it for $1.59 per gallon. Great price. We called to a marina that was on the other side of the island, and they were $2.49 a gallon. Both of those prices are plus tax, which means there's about a 3-cent per gallon like environment tax, and then about another 7.5 cents per gallon for sales tax. So figure another 10 cents. So basically I paid $1.69 all in. or the other place was $2.59 all in. Big difference when you're talking 400 gallons. We called a third marina that was up in the Middle Keys that we bought fuel from before. They're $3 per gallon all in. Huge price difference. I mean, that's almost double what I paid. So my bill delivered, and they didn't charge a delivery fee, was $770.90 to fill the boat with diesel, and that was with 445 gallons of diesel. So one thing that's not really included in these costs right here, two things actually. One was I had the welder come out and do some welding. He fixed a hinge, 2 hinges, and made me a couple of pulls. I think that was $340 for that, and that was, he charged me for I think 4 hours of work and a little bit of material. So I thought that was reasonable for what he did. The other thing is there's no labor in any of these. I did all the work, me or my family, and so if you're paying somebody to do work for you, add another $120 an hour. I mean, who knows how many hours I spent? At least 6 hours a day for 14 days. I mean, you could do the math there. But just something to keep in mind as you're thinking about having your boat at the boatyard, and if you're paying someone to do it. And like I've always said, you're the best mechanic for your boat if you can learn how to do it. It really is best for you. So make sure and stay tuned for next week's video. We're going to show you our process of actually getting fuel on the boat. We're going to show you going in provisioning and how that all works, and we're even get into the costs and what we bought for provisioning in order to go to the Bahamas. So thanks again for watching this week's video. Please leave your comments and your questions in the comments below. We read those. We love to read them. We try and respond to as many of them as we can. So please do that. Give us a thumbs up. Share the video with your friends. It's getting exciting, folks. We're about ready to take off for the Bahamas. We are so excited. We can't wait.
How did you boys like being in a boatyard?
Not too good. Not too good. We didn't have any friends to play with. Those only say, like, barely anything to do. It wasn't too fun.
No. What did we do? What were your thoughts?
We did make money working on the boat.
How much?
$5 an hour.
He had 15 total, 10 total, and 50.
Oh, and if you do fiberglass, it doubles your money.
What else did you learn about a boatyard?
That you don't get to run around or do anything.
And don't ever roll around in the water there.
Why?
It could be oil.
Yeah, there might be like 1 foot of oil in the water.
So what do you think of Key West?
Actually, it's pretty
fun.
nice. And we could get key lime pie there.
And also, we saw a ton of cats on the boat in the boatyard. That was one of the only like 3 things that was fun. Another one was riding our bike, and another was exploring.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you come back next Friday and see us provision for the Bahamas.